again in a couple minutes too. So if you are listening on the radio and we're mentioning Highway 19, Highway 15, make sure to get off the roads and try to go into some kind of safe place like a gas station like I mentioned before. Overall, this system is still looking relatively strong as far as that circulation goes, and the reflectivity is looking good as well. Overall, I haven't seen anything from the National Weather Service chat as if they're going to extend this warning off towards the north and the east as the system continues to move northward. But this is still something that we are continue to monitor. Thankfully, this is the only active tornado warning as we head and look kind of at a bigger picture behind this. This is the only one in our viewing area and in the state of Mississippi as a whole. A couple severe thunderstorms toward the Jackson metro, and so we still have that one severe thunderstorm off in parts of northern Clay County. But besides that, this is the only one that we are concerned with right now. Everything else is just a messy line of some thunder, some lightning, heavy rain, and also some winds here and there. But again, we're still going to be monitoring this system. This warning still goes until, let's see, 7:30 p.m. So it's almost 7 p.m., about to hit the top of the hour. So still 30 minutes here or there with this storm. But we are going to be continuing to monitor it as it enters into Winston County. Pretty sure it just crossed the Neshoba and Winston County line over near Plattsburgh. So definitely Noxapater, I would say you're next on the list for this storm. So please heads up and try to get into those safe places. Ashley.
That's right. You mentioned looking into the chat. We just got word from the tornado warning cell that we have been tracking here in the southern end of our viewing area still has decent circulation, which we've mentioned, still very tight there, riding along the county lines. Never showed the TDS, never showed the drop in debris or the correlation coefficient, as we like to mention as well. But they're also mentioning that the shape is a bit more elongated now. So I do have the laps on here, and you can see from the beginning of our laps here back in Leake County, a bit more circular, and as it's shifted its way to the northeast, the rotation has stretched out a bit, becoming a little bit more oblong as it's continued through Neshoba towards Winston County. So they're saying we may get to play it out, but we are going to keep that warning in place as it does continue until 7:30. It is now almost 7 o'clock. It is currently 6:56, so we still have just over 30 minutes with this system, but you can definitely see that oblong shape of the rotation of towards and away of the radar as it's getting ready to cross there into Winston County. I know this doesn't have a warning, but I do want to direct our attention back over to Leake County. While this may look like a rotation, this is now looking more like a straight line wind situation, in my opinion. Lots of gusty wind here. I do want to query and see what type of winds we may actually be looking at there. So 57-mile-per-hour winds just to the north of Carthage there in northern portions of Leake County. So that wind, it's still going. So even though we're not in the warning, there's the shear lock. So it's trying to do that rotation that I mentioned with some of our more northern severe thunderstorm warnings, where we dropped the tornado warning itself, got back to regular rain, and now it's trying to spin back up. So we may see the chat here start to talk about what we may do with Leake County again, but we are keeping our focus on Neshoba and Winston County, also keeping our focus because we don't want to forget about this either. Our severe thunderstorm warning in Clay County, moving very quickly to the east and northeast at 60 miles per hour. So very fast wind here within this area. Lots of heavy rain, a little bit of lightning as well, especially along that northern end of Clay County, right along this border of the polygon here of the warning. And this will eventually be working its way into Monroe County. We are going to keep our eye on this as it continues. And Bell, I believe that we just have added Lowndes County into the tornado watch, if you'll double check that for me.
So Lowndes County and Kemper has now been added to the tornado watch.
Okay, so Lowndes and Kemper are now within that tornado watch. Is it also until 9 p.m.?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So within the southern half of our viewing area, we are now within a tornado watch until 9 p.m. So definitely keeping our eye on the rest of this line as it's continuing to track across the viewing area. Lots of heavy rain, lots of gusty wind, potentially some hail thrown in as well. Anything along this line could potentially spin up here within the next couple of hours. The watch goes until 9 p.m. It's now almost 7 p.m. So as this continues tracking across, anything could start spinning at any moment. So we definitely want to stay prepared for this. We do have, again, this severe thunderstorm warning in Clay County going until 7:15, and then our tornado warning there on the southern end of Winston County going until 7:30. So we've got about 30 more minutes left with this tornado warning here going along the southern end of Winston County. So switching back over, taking another look at our radar here. Off to our west in Leake County, we got a little bit of an S shape happening in our reflectivity. We also have the shear lock back in place there. So I'd like us, Bella, to keep our eye on this system as well as we're continuing through the next couple of minutes. A little bit of a fuzzy look here to the reflectivity, but we still have that great north to south orientation of the line there moving into Winston County. Rotation has definitely started to try to fizzle out. The rotation's still there, still got the reds and the greens, but definitely a little bit more oblong, a little bit more of a broad, spread out area as this is working towards the northeast at about 50 miles per hour, especially along this northwesterly edge of our tornado warning polygon here. We mentioned Noxapater being the next big city that this warning is heading towards. We've crossed over Highway 19, about to head towards Highway 15 with Noxapater here in the next little bit. Going in between this broad area of rotation, Noxapater in the next 10 minutes could have that rotation right on top. So stay aware of that. If you're heading outdoors, don't. Make sure you are in your safe spot as we're continuing through the next little bit. 7:01 now, 29 minutes left with this tornado warning. The shear is there. We are sticking with a little bit more of those lighter shades of green. We don't have the red embedded anymore, but the shades of green are there as this system is continuing to move through. Correlation coefficient is not there, which is definitely good news. In terms of this area off to the west, though, again, I mentioned there's a little bit of an S shape. So we're going to keep our eye on that. Obviously, our shear lock is on. If I switch over to storm relative velocity, it's trying to tighten that rotation, that very broad rotation, trying to tighten its way back together. Got some good shear with that as well. And again, no correlation coefficient. That is good news. As we're continuing to track the rest of the line, it looks like the heaviest may be trying to move out of this severe thunderstorm warning in Clay County. We still have about 13 minutes along with that system. But I also want to keep our eye on this area here working its way into Monroe County. If you live here long enough, you know Monroe County likes to be a little bit finicky in terms of severe weather. So we're going to keep our eye on Monroe County and the rest of the broad line as we continue through the night. I am going to head back over to Belle and see if she has any more information, if she's seen anything coming in from the National Weather Service chat. Belle.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Again, nothing too crazy from the National Weather Service chat right now, as far as I've checked, except for the new additions of Lowndes, Kemper, and Noxubee counties to the tornado watch at 9 p.m. or going until 9 p.m. tonight. So still a couple more hours of this tornado watch. But I do want to give a shout out to some cities for this one tornado warning, still kind of all in Winston County right now. So even though the tornado warning has extended or it is in parts of Noxubee County. The main circulation and storm is to the north in Winston County. Overall, Noxapater, within the next couple of minutes, 7:05 p.m., this storm is going to be on top of you. Vernon at 7:11 p.m., Boone at 7:13, and then Ellison Ridge 7:15 p.m., Mayspring 7:23 p.m., and then Lynn Creek 7:27. Then going off well to the east 7:30 p.m. And so we are just getting confirmation that there are sirens going on in Louisville, Mississippi as well. So that's just another way to say, hey, this is kind of a stormy situation with this tornado warning. So we do want to be aware. Please make sure to get inside that safe spot and that safe place. The best place to go, interior rooms, away from windows. The best places I'm thinking of are some bathrooms, some closets, underneath some staircases if you have those as well. Overall, it's just still looking like a pretty stormy day. Sorry, I was still looking at the NWS chat, but overall, this is the only tornado warning that we have. And then if we zoom out towards a bigger picture, the the severe thunderstorm warning that was in Clay County has now been it's been canceled. So that is very good news. The only kind of concern that we have right now as far as warnings go are well to the south in parts of Winston County as well. Still keeping an eye on the Leake County storm that we're still going to watch for any kind of rotation in case it kind of tries to drop anything. But we're all looking at it right now. It's still looking relatively good as far as that green and that red go, where you see that bright green and some of those reds come together. We know the storm is trying to spin up a little bit of something. Overall, this one is definitely starting to weaken as it enters into Winston County. Just got a new scan. There still is some red and green, but definitely it is looking on the weaker side compared to what it was a little bit before, especially near Carthage. Again, it hasn't produced anything just yet. We haven't seen anything from our debris detector, which is very good news. I expect this warning to most likely cancel, I'm assuming, within the next couple, or at least be expired by 7:30 p.m. if this continues the way it is, kind of trending more toward weakening over the next couple of minutes. But I wanted to do a kind of a reset and kind of give you a zoomed out view of what we're dealing with so far. That is very zoomed out. So zoom in a little bit, and this is kind of what we're dealing with all across Northeast Mississippi. I would definitely say the worst weather as far as some of our severe thunderstorm warnings and where those tornado warnings have been are well to the south of Highway 82, where we still have that one tornado warning coming into Winston County as well. Some lightning picking up near south of Kosciuszko in Link County and Attala, but well to our north, especially in places like Tupelo, Boonville, Oxford, Bruce, you guys are pretty much good for the night. We're dealing with some rain, especially near Boonville and Tupelo and Hamilton. But the good news is, behind this main complex of storms off to the west near I-55, we're done. We are done for severe weather for the night. So definitely going to give an all clear for Eupora, Grenada, Greenwood, Bruce, Oxford, and places out here. You guys are done with the severe weather threat. Now we're going to continue to watch more of these storms continue to push off into the east, eventually crossing the Mississippi and Alabama state line. So still going to be watching this for the next couple of minutes. And the National Weather Service just trimmed up this warning. If we take a zoom back down into the Neshoba and Winston County storms, the National Weather Service did trim off what was the tornado warning in Neshoba County. Now we're only looking at this triangle of a warning, kind of encompassing, oh my goodness, Noxapater. So this is the only tornado warning that we have so far, right over Noxapater. So if you were in Noxapater, know anyone near Noxapater or heading into Claytown, Ellison Ridge, Triplets Corner, Fern Spring within the next couple of minutes, please give them a call, kind of send that you guys are in a tornado warning. And we still have this red and the green, meaning that it's still kind of rotating, and that rotation is right over the city of Noxapater. And along, sure, if you were in Noxapater, you were in that interior room away from any windows. We want to get to the lowest part of our home if possible. Best places to go are a closet, a bathroom type of situation, and this is going to continue to move off, and this warning is still going to be going until 7:30 p.m. It's 7:07, so we still have a couple minutes with this storm, and we're still going to see if the National Weather Service kind of continues this warning and continues to move it further into Winston County. But overall, right now, it is only this one part of Winston County. Do what? Okay. Sorry, we're going to toss it to Ashley. She's going to give an update on this storm as well.
Yeah, Belle did a little bit of a reset. We're going to go ahead and just do another one while we're at it. Plenty of stratiform rain across northeast Mississippi. Some of that rain even moving into our western Alabama counties. Columbus area getting some lightning. I just looked outside for just a quick peek. We've got some lightning coming through, some of that heavier rain as well. The heaviest still along this line, anywhere from 82 and southwest, pushing towards Leake and Itala counties. This line is continuing to push off to the east as we continue over the next little bit. Obviously, our only warning in place is this tornado warning here in Winston County. That is sticking around until 7:30, so we have about 20 minutes left with this system. In terms of our velocity, tightened up a little bit more. Before I toss it to Belle, it was a little bit more of an oblong oval shape. Now we're starting to pinch that tightness right back together, making this circular rotation here between towards and away the red and the green of this radar as it's continuing to move to the northeast. You see there's another scan. It tightened up even more as it's continuing to track its way to the northeast. 50 miles per hour. So zooming in just past over Noxapater and Highway 15, Claytown. It's going to move just to the north of you, about to hit Highway 397 eventually as the system moves out of the polygon and further off to the northeast, Burnett, it'll be just to the north of you as well as this just to the south. So in between Claytown and Estes, this storm will continue to track to the northeast, passing over 397. A little bit more of a detailed look at some of those roads. Barrier Clay Road, Childs Road, Enon Road, Rocky Hill Road. Some of those roads you definitely do not want to be on as we're continuing through the next little bit. Again, it's 7:10 right now. This system continues until 7:30. So we have 20 minutes to see what the National Weather Service decides to do with this system. Now that it's starting to tighten back up just a little bit more, Belle has pulled up a Mississippi Department of Transportation camera. So let's send it back over to Belle and get a look at what we're seeing across our area. Belle.
Yeah, Ashley, so this is a camera off in Starkville on Highway 12. The rain is definitely picking up out there, as well as some of the wind too. Just a flash of lightning that just happened as well. Still, a couple people on the roads. Definitely get off the roads, especially, I know we're not in a tornado warning in Starkville or Oktibbeha County or even a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, this whole complex and line of storms is something that is kind of pushing into the area, and it's causing a little bit of trouble for us for our Sunday evening. So definitely get off the roads if you are anywhere in our northeast Mississippi viewing area. Going to be some dangerous travel, especially as these winds begin to pick up. We're actually under that wind advisory today until 8 p.m. too. So in addition to these storms, we also had these gusty winds ahead of this line of storms, making it difficult for some places making people difficult to drive as we head into the next couple of minutes and throughout the rest of the night as well. And behind this, we're going to get some clearing, and thankfully we'll get some kind of rest as we head into Sunday night. We just got to get through a couple more of these severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, and gusty winds throughout the remainder of the night. But definitely, again, if you are on the roads, please make sure to kind of try to get home tonight and try to stay safe away from, especially some of these gusty winds in Oktibbeha and Lowndes County. I don't even know if you can see, but these traffic, red light, green lights are starting to really sway in the wind. So proving that it is definitely pretty gusty out there for our Sunday evening. So again, just one last reminder, try to stay off the roads tonight if you can, and try not to go anywhere. We don't want you driving in some of these conditions, especially with these gusty winds. I'm going to toss it back over to Ashley. She'll have an update on the tornado warning. Ashley.
Tornado warning holding place for now at 7:12. Got about 18 minutes left with this system. You see it there, though. It's just about on the edge of our polygon. Continuing to move to the northeast, 50 miles per hour. Highway 397. Bell just mentioned if you're on the road, get off the road. Get into your safe spot. I know there's not a whole lot out there, but you're in between some of those bigger cities, so I'm sure there's a gas station or McDonald's somewhere that you can just get out of your car and hop into just to seek shelter as this system is continuing to track across the southern and southeastern portion of Winston County. You see there, the rotation still pretty strong, almost looking like it's trying to separate into two separate rotations. This one here still in the polygon, a little bit stronger, but I do want to go ahead and mention, even though there's no warning on it, we are building back the rotation. And I mentioned it while it was in Leake County. Now it's cross county lines, sitting in the most southeastern portion of Atala County, potentially getting ready to cross over into Winston County. I have asked the National Weather Service what they think on that, so I am waiting on a response to what we see with that one. Let's see. Okay, it looks like they may go with the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag for that area. So we're going to see what they actually end up doing with a tornado possible tag. That means with the tightness of the rotation here, we could have something drop. We haven't seen anything drop just yet with any of these tornado warnings, as in there hasn't been anything dropped in our debris detection, but doesn't mean we won't. Now, going back to our tornado warning still in place, looks like that rotation has now crossed its way out of the polygon right on Highway 397 here. So we've left the polygon and gone into the rest of southeastern Winston County there. Belle, have we got any indication on what that might be doing now? Or are we going to continue with the polygon in place?
I think they may be doing that severe thunderstorm warning, or that may be the one that you asked about. Okay, they went to severe thunderstorm warning, but they haven't expired the tornado warning yet.
Okay, good. So the tornado warning still in place for another 15 minutes, which means basically if you're within near the area of this rotation, I want you in your safe spot. Just because the rotation not in the flashing red does not mean you are completely safe. We are not giving the all clear for southeastern Winston County. There is now a more broad area of severe thunderstorm warning as we're continuing along with this line. I'm going to look quickly at the details of this. The severe thunderstorm warning going until 8:15, so another hour with this system as it's continuing to track northeast. It's moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. So picking up speed just a little bit as this system is tracking across our viewing area. The main hazards they're saying with this system is 68 mile per hour wind gusts despite the rotation that we are seeing there crossing from Atala into Winston County. So as we continue on this path, I am going to end up switching back and forth between our Jackson and our Columbus radars because we're kind of now in what we call the no man land in our system. That's why we get all this fuzzy nonsense as we continue our way. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, the tornado warning has now been canceled, so we are now giving that all clear. However, there is still the severe thunderstorm warning in place for Winston County as well as Atala and Noxubee. So really the system is about here It's moving into Winston, eventually moving into Noxubee. We're going to see more of the heavy showers and storms tracking their way across these two counties as we continue over the next little bit. Lauren in the back, I would like to stay on for at least until 7:30 just to see if anything happens along with this rotation or if this one decides to spin back up. I also see a little bit of flashing to our south with another tornado warning. However, before we start freaking out, this is out of our viewing area. That's in the Jackson viewing area. So before we start freaking out about that, that is out of viewing area. Looking at the rest of the line, you can definitely see here the heaviest of that line, anywhere from just east of Tupelo down to Winston County. You can definitely pinpoint where the strongest is in terms of the lightning striking. You can see a peak here to our north and a peak to our south in that western portion of Winston County. Bell is working on creating the post for the severe thunderstorm warning, moving at 55 miles per hour. And since I mentioned the tornado to our south, not in viewing area, if you know anybody on the eastern half of the Jackson area, go ahead and give them a call. Apparently there is an official confirmed tornado in that area, but since it's not in our viewing area, we're not going to spend too much time talking about it. Now, here's something I did mention, and that's Monroe County and how it likes to be a little bit tricky in terms of severe weather events. So you know, we mentioned shear lock all the time in terms of severe weather events. So we do have a shear lock in place along the northern border of Monroe County, but how this is looking great here, the reds and the green, I'm seeing this more of a straight line wind event. So definitely don't want to be outside as those wind gusts are picking up speed just a little bit, but we want to stay on top of things. That is Monroe County. We want to stay on top of them and make sure nothing too crazy happens in that county. Over in Winston County, where that severe thunderstorm warning is continuing to take place, we have two areas with peak lightning, one being that first area of rotation where the tornado warning has now been canceled, has expired, not quite yet, but they did cancel it. That is moving out of Winston County and off to the east and northeast, another area of that peak and lightning there, just in the western portion of Winston County. We're also seeing some random sparks of lightning throughout the heaviest of this line as it's continuing to track east across the viewing area. It looks like the central point of the Golden Triangle will start to see some of the heaviest of that rain. Starkville about to get a nice wave of thunder and lightning as well. Here in a little bit, West Point about to reach it as well. So switching over to the storm relative velocity, I mean, we all see it, the rotation quite tight between the reds and the greens in both locations where we're seeing a little bit of that peak in the lightning. Do you happen to have maybe an NDOT cam within that area we could pull up?
I can look.
Okay, so as Belle works on pulling that up, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a time of arrival type of outlook. If this moves a little bit more of a east-northeast fashion, Macon can see this first area of rotation here in about 20 minutes. Louisville could see this area of rotation if it moves directly northeast in about 15 to 20 minutes. So some of those bigger cities, think about what is heading your way. Heavier rain, some lightning, as well as the storm that is continuing to try to rotate as the line is moving to the east and northeast. And Bella's still working on pulling something up. Doesn't look like she has anything just yet, and that's okay. We are clearing out the Tala portion here in just a little bit of the severe thunderstorm warning. There it goes. So now it's just Winston and Noxubee County, I believe. And Belle, I'm going to toss it over to you and just maybe give of a cell track with some of those smaller cities and not any of those bigger cities.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I didn't find any MDOT cameras, so don't have any cameras for us tonight, but definitely still going to be watching this, even though it is a severe thunderstorm warning. That rotation is starting to increase within the past couple of scans, heading right along Highway 25, heading straight. We are kind of in this no man's land where we have to kind of keep switching radars. So this line of where we see this kind of nasty pixelated stuff is kind of where our information cuts off for the Jackson radar. But I will go ahead and give a storm track of kind of where this storm is moving throughout the next couple of minutes. And we'll talk about this. Let me pull this up really quick. So Cavalry, we're looking within the next couple of minutes, 7:26 p.m. heading your way. Louisville, 7:29 p.m. So only a couple more minutes. I still would say try to get into that safe room, interior place if you can, because of that rotation in that southwestern part of Winston County. Boone, 7:32 p.m. Webster at 7:34 p.m. Triplets Corner, 7:37 p.m. and then Winston at 7:39 p.m. if we go out a little bit further. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm right now. However, this could change into a tornado warning at any minute. So this is something that we're going to be continuing to monitor the National Weather Service chat if they decide to change this into a tornado warning. But for right now, it is only a severe thunderstorm warning that's lasting until 8:15 p.m. But again, we still do have that shear lock, kind of gets our eyes noticing that there is some sort of rotation with this storm, and it's going to continue to move off really along Highway 25 over the next couple minutes towards Louisville. So if you know anyone in Louisville, kind of give them a heads up, hey, that this storm is coming, could have some rotation with it, and we could see some changes as far as if we get another tornado warning for Louisville and Winston County within the next couple of minutes. Again, no tornado warning right now, but that doesn't mean that we still shouldn't be kind of monitoring and being into our safe spots, interior rooms, bathrooms. I would still say please be into those areas for tonight as we head throughout the next couple of minutes. But other than that, that's the only active warning as far as a severe thunderstorm warning goes for much of northeast Mississippi. Everywhere else, all the warnings are down to our south near Jackson and their TV market. But for us, only dealing with this one severe thunderstorm warning for right now. Ashley.
I am going to switch directions, heading back to some of our northern counties. The National Weather Service in Memphis just put out a special weather statement, so not a severe thunderstorm warning yet, but for Itawamba and Monroe County, this area here, we're keeping our eye out on some gusty winds, right now gusting up to 45 miles per hour as it's continued to push its way out of state lines into potentially some of our western Alabama counties. So while we're finishing up this area of the line in northeast Mississippi, places like Vernon and Lamar County need to start getting ready. West Point, they're just on the southern edge of what you can see here. West Point and Starkville, you guys are about to start getting some pretty heavy rain, some pretty heavy gusts, and potentially some lightning and hail as well. Columbus, you're still sticking with that pretty similar rain of a very consistent pattern as we're continuing through the night, sticking for about 4 more minutes here. We're staying until 7:30. We have this severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15 for Winston and Noxubee counties. In terms of what we're looking at, rotation is still there in both areas 1 and 2 of what we've been watching. This was the area that had that tornado warning in place, now getting ready to cross over county lines over in southwestern Winston County. That rotation's holding pretty strong. Still have that peak and lightning as it continues working its way northeast. We'll see what we end up doing with that here in the next couple of minutes. One last look at a recap as we continue through our night. The heaviest of the rain is anywhere from east of Tupelo down to the west of Louisville. The heaviest of the line there, you see it in the dark shades of red pushing through the eastern counties of our viewing area. Otherwise, the northwestern half of the area over near Oxford and Coffeyville, Grenada, Winona, y'all are clear for the night in terms of a severe weather threat. Our tornado watch is continuing until 9 p.m. So as this line continues tracking, at any point we could have rotation start to spin up and try to drop something. For now, though, it has yet to drop anything precisely. Reading the chat here from Memphis, looks like they may be coming out with a flood advisory for Lee and Itawamba County. So lots of rain apparently has fallen. We don't know exactly how much just looking at our radar, but a lot of rain has fallen, especially in the darker shades of red. So flooding has become an issue. If you're out driving, I hope you're not. Just stay aware of flooding. If you run into it, of course, you know the phrase, turn around and don't drown. We are going to continue to stick with us for about 2 more minutes. I am going to toss it back over to Belle. Belle, do you have anything else you maybe want to add?
Yeah, so we do have some reports of damage here in Leake County near, there's reports of trees down at Highway 129 and Highway 43, a tree down and a power line down on Highway 429 near Thomastown and Red Dog Road near Carthage. So definitely some damage as we head into Leake County for tonight.
Okay, so we are getting some word of damage, especially in Leake County, where we had that tornado warning move through. If, once safely, you can get more of that detail into us, of course, we'd love to share it with the rest of our viewers and, of course, with the National Weather Service. They'd love to hear about it as well, especially once the system clears out and they go out to survey over the next couple of days with some of the warnings that they've been putting out tonight. I am going to look one more time at this rotation as it's 729 just to the southwest of Louisville. That is still some very strong rotation. You can see it again kind of wrapping around itself, looking especially right there in the green and the red. You can see it starting to wrap around itself. The National Weather Service doesn't seem too concerned about it just yet. So with it being 729, only sticking with us for just another minute or so, I want us to all remember to stay aware, stay on top of the weather conditions as we continue, especially over the next hour and a half with this tornado watch in place until 9 p.m. Anything could happen along this line within that next hour and a half. Our western Alabama counties, you haven't had much action just yet tonight either. I want you guys to stay weather aware, especially as this area starts to track its way east. Of course, Belle and I will be here for the next several hours, because she has, of course, the shows to stick around tonight. So we'll be here tracking the rest of the line as we continue through the night. So for meteorologist Belle Oliver, I'm meteorologist Ashley Bryant, sending you back to coverage.